Welcome back to the 2am team, where we deal with anxiety, panic attacks, panic disorders, ways that we can help them, how to deal with panic attacks, and also how to realise that you are just having a panic attack and it's not something worse. In today's episode, I'm going to be going through an article that I found on NHS Inform. If you're not from the UK, NHS is like the UK sort of health agency, I suppose, for the whole of the UK. So they've got some good information on there. Obviously, as with everything on here, anxiety, panic attacks, they're a delicate issue, and I don't want to get anything wrong. So everything that I will have on this sort of on the website, on the channel, is going to be from proper sources, and of course I'll leave all the links for them as well. Before I get into this, one upcoming thing that we have got coming up is we're going to be doing a podcast with a mental health professional which deals with panic attacks, people having them, and he is obviously a professional at it. We're going to be doing a bit of a podcast and asking him the important questions. However, in this video we're also going to be going through some of the important questions, and again I'll leave the link if you actually want to read this down in the description. So what it actually first goes through is how to deal with a panic attack. And a panic attack, as they do state on there, is a feeling of sudden intense anxiety. This can actually be caused by many things, or as little as you think it might be, to even large things, or just multiple things on your mind. You might not even realise how much you're thinking of them, which cause you to have these attacks. Panic attacks do have physical symptoms, including shaking, feeling disoriented, nausea, rapid or irregular heartbeat, dry mouth, sweatiness, breathlessness, and of course dizziness as well. Now, one thing that it does say on this article, that these symptoms are not dangerous, they are more frightening, and the fact is that they're so frightening is that you believe that something worse is happening or could happen. If you do want to check some of the steps, head on over to the 2amteam.com. We've got Am I Having a Panic Attack page, and just go through the steps there. Does it match what you're having right now? Because much of the time people do think, and this is including myself when I've had them, is that you're having a heart attack. Obviously you're getting the symptoms, you might be getting pains, your heart's hurting, your heart is elevated, it's beating much faster, you're getting breathless, you feel like you're getting short of breath and like your chest is closing in, which of course is going to make you worry that you're having a heart attack. It makes the anxiety rise, and also the fact that if no one's there with you, what's going to happen, you start to think all sorts of awful things. Now unfortunately these are in your head, and these will cause more of a panic attack. Unfortunately, one of the bad things about panic attacks is that it does make you feel almost in a way that you're going to die, which is an awful thing to think, and the more you think that, the worse it's going to get. So on to the next bit of the article, which is going to be how to actually handle a panic attack. What can we do to help ourselves? Now, and I do believe in this statement, it says the Professor Paul Salkowitz, I believe, Professor of Clinical Psychology Applied Science at University of Bath, says it's important not to let your fears and panic attacks control you. Now, I do agree with this. Obviously, one thing is you got to think, not everybody can just deal with this without medication, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but sometimes people will need medication because it might be so bad. So you got to know where the fine line is. Do talk to a professional if you do feel like it's just you're not dealing with it too well yourself, and that you might need some help with it. So don't ever feel bad about having to go onto medication, but also know that it is something that you can try and control. Obviously, if you can't, then talk to a professional, and then they can obviously help you a bit further with that. One thing that they do state on here is that panic attacks always pass, and the symptoms are not a sign of anything harmful happening. He does suggest to tell yourself that it is just an anxiety attack. Now, I can back that up because that's primarily how I stop most of my attacks. I used to get them quite often until I actually phoned up the NHS, spoke to a doctor, and it was at the point that they told me that it is an anxiety attack, it's not a heart attack. If it was a heart attack, it might display different symptoms. And we do have a section on the page as well on the bottom of Am I Having a Panic Attack, which is also symptoms for if you're actually having a heart attack. So what they are saying is to just keep telling yourself it is an anxiety attack, which means that it is going to pass depending on your thoughts. This obviously will not work for everybody, but it might work for a majority of you, just to actually know what it is. Once you know what it is, you know that it's nothing else dangerous, so you know that it's something that you can work off, you know that it's something that will go away, and if you try really hard using certain exercises, you can put it to the back of your mind. Next up, he goes on to say, don't look for distractions, ride out the attack, try to keep doing things if possible. It's possible to remain in the situation until the anxiety has subsided. Confront your fear. If you don't run away from it, you're giving yourself a chance to discover that nothing's going to happen. Now, I agree and disagree with this a little bit. Personally, I do actually like to distract myself a little bit, but I definitely see where he's going for here, because obviously by trying to distract yourself, actually your thought process could still be panicking about it, whereas actually doing something which I prefer to do, which is I do a slow walk around the house, I concentrate on my feet and my breathing. That is also my personal way to actually get my mind off what I'm panicking about at the point. So I suppose I agree and disagree with that. I suppose it really does depend on personal preference, and this is why this stuff isn't really, read through many articles, obviously, go through proper companies that do deal with this properly. But it just goes to show that not everything works the same way, because obviously for some people it might not work to sit there and just try and confront your fears. That might make it worse. So I suppose that really is going to be what suits you best, whether it's best to use a distraction method. A lot of people go with the breathing, because it's something that once you do start sort of, you've got to think about it. You're thinking about your breath in, you're thinking about your breath out. You're so concentrated on a certain thing. For me, it's walking. I'm following my path. It stops me shaking so much, because when I lie in a certain place, I can't stop my body moving so fast and like shaking and trembling. Whereas when I'm walking, that tends to slow and subside a little bit, because I'm concentrating on something else. As the anxiety begins to pass, start to focus on your surroundings and continue to do what you were doing before. If you're having a short, sudden panic attack, it can be helpful to have someone with you, reassuring you that it will pass and symptoms are nothing to worry about, says Professor Salkovitsks. Now this I do find to be one of the problems, and one of the problems which is actually why I started the 2 AM team, is that not everybody has somebody there. Actually, it does really help to have somebody there, because once you're talking to them, even if they almost distract you with another conversation, because they're talking about something, you're talking about something, your brain starts to go away from what you were panicking from. And that really does help. Unfortunately, not everybody has somebody there. It might be a ridiculous time at night where you might not want to phone your parents. That they might be elderly. You might not want to wake them up. You might not want to bother people. Although I've got to be honest, most of the time people will actually be glad to help. I've very rarely had a time where someone's gone, "Oh, somebody phoned me up having a panic attack and I was annoyed." That really doesn't happen, because people, as general human beings, would like to help out. However, that's why we've done the 2 AM team. So you've got somebody to message. We've got the forum. We've got the tickets now. So rather than live chat, we're doing the tickets. So if you want to get hold of somebody, obviously the message will come straight away to all the admins and we'll be able to respond to you. As I said, use the forum if not, and we've also got a callback or checkback service. That's something for that weird fear that you feel that you're going to die. Unfortunately, as horrible as it is to say, it very likely is not going to happen. It's the fear in your head most of all, so sometimes it's nice just to know that somebody will check up on you a certain amount of hours. So fill in the form. Of course, everything on the 2 AM team is free. Sign up, again, free. Just sign up, send in a form. We can then get back to you just to make sure you're all alright and you know that somebody's got your back. Next up, let's go to breathing exercises for panic attacks and what they do suggest. Now we've got 4 bullet points here, and we've got breathe in as slowly, deeply and gently as you can through your nose. Now we do have a video with breathing exercises, which I'll go through that motion basically of breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. You hold it in for 5 seconds or up to 5 seconds. Obviously don't make yourself more breathless, but the idea is to start regulating your breathing again. Obviously breathe out slowly, deeply, gently through your mouth. Again, regulate your breathing, get yourself concentrated on something, and it's also it's sort of stopping you from hyperventilating so much, where you're so your body's going, you're worrying, you might have a dry mouth from all the breathing in and out. Obviously your heart rate's going fast, you feel like your whole body's shaking, so you need to try and slow that down. Some people do find it helpful to count steadily from 1 to 5 on each breath and count in and out, pretty much what I've been saying. So count up to 5. Obviously don't do it, so if you can't physically hold it for 5 seconds in that situation, don't put yourself under more duress, but just try and hold it and make it slow. Close your eyes and focus on your breathing. Again, something that we do in the breathing exercise, and actually it does help. You can really concentrate, and then it's going to slowly start to take you out of it. Next up, we have ways to prevent a panic attack. Here they do suggest that you need to try and work out in particular stress you might be under that could make your symptoms worse. Obviously, if you are able to deal with, your stresses that actually cause this, that's going to be great. Obviously, not everybody has the time and day to, try and sort out every stress. It might be stuff with money that you can't sort out straight away. However, one thing that does help is even if you make a start on it. So let's say you have a huge debt which has been absolutely on your mind for ages. Every time you think about it, you can literally feel yourself shaking. You're not feeling too well. Putting a start on it actually really does help. Even if it's something like, phoning up and then starting a payment plan for something really affordable, just to at least say, right, this is it. I've confronted my fear. Something's got started there. That's really going to help, because it's not going to play on your mind so much. Your first thought when you think about that isn't going to be, oh my gosh, what's going on there, this is really stressing me out. It's going to be, oh, I phoned it up, I've made the first move, so we're actually, the ball's rolling. And that works with a lot of things in life. If you're stressed about it, make that first move. Even if it's not going to sort it right there and then, it's going to put that first starting movement in, which is then going to relax your brain on that subject matter quite a lot. Don't restrict movement and daily activities. Obviously keeping fit and active is going to help for certain people. Doing breathing exercises every day will help prevent panic attacks and relieve them from when they are happening. A lot of people do like to do stuff like meditation. Meditation also includes a lot of concentrating on your breath in and out as well, and it really does help for these situations to calm you down. Regular exercise, especially aerobic exercise, which will help you manage stress levels, release tension, increase your mood and boost confidence. Now this also works in many other ways, because if you're out doing this with people, you're also going to be socializing a bit more. Sometimes you might find harder to do this, so you might do this on your own as well, especially if the anxiety is caused by going out and doing certain things. But it's something to keep your mind happy and healthy at the same time. You're also keeping your body healthy as well. Eat regular meals to stabilize your blood sugar levels. Of course, if you are eating regularly, you're going to have a much more stabilized blood sugar level, I suppose. It can throw your body out of whack if you're eating, or maybe you don't eat in the morning, you don't eat all the way till the evening, and your body's going through that the whole day, just waiting for some nourishment, getting the blood sugar levels right again. So yeah, try to eat regularly, they do suggest on here. Avoid caffeine, alcohol and smoking. These can make panic attacks worse. Panic support groups have useful advice about how we can go effectively to manage your attacks. Knowing that other people are experiencing the same feelings can be reassuring. Your GP can put you in touch with other groups in your area. That is absolutely correct. There is lots of groups to help. Also stuff like smoking and alcohol, though you might think it's relaxing. And also some studies have shown smoking cannabis as well, although people think that it's a very relaxing thing to do. In fact, it can actually build up to another panic attack. And from what I can see on forums, it does seem that a lot of people actually will state that, that they were doing such thing before they had a panic attack. So, it just goes to show that that isn't actually so much of a stress relief. It might be hiding it in the, in the forefront of your head, but realistically the stress or the anxiety is still going in the back of your head. Cognitive behavioural therapy, CBD, can identify and change negative thought patterns that are feeding your panic attacks. This is not something I've tried myself, but it is definitely something that's suggested on this article. Again, links in the description if you want to go read it yourself. Last but not least, is it a panic disorder or panic attack? This is always the hard one, and the one that sometimes leads to more panic. If you're feeling constantly stressed and anxious, particularly about when your panic attack may be, you may have panic disorder. People with panic disorders may avoid situations, might cause a panic attack. They may also fear to avoid public space. Agoraphobia, I hope I said that right. But again, I can see this in a lot of groups. A lot of people are scared to go out into public spaces because they might have an anxiety attack. So then when they do, they might actually have that attack, which it's like a bad circle. You go around, you get more scared to do more things. There isn't a quick fix, as they do say, and obviously all of us know, but if your attacks are happening after time, seek medical help. Again, by Professor Salkowitz there. Now that is very true. Obviously, if you are having a really hard time, you're trying all the exercises, you're trying everything everybody has suggested, but you're still suffering really bad, talk to a professional. Even like I said at the start, medication isn't a bad thing. It just means that you've hit a certain level where you're going to need just that extra bit of help. Professionals can point you in the right direction and give you the right thing that's going to suit you and your lifestyle, and hopefully really help you out. Now, I hope this has helped, guys. Again, I was reading this from the NHS Inform. I'll leave the link in the description if you want to check it out yourself. I'll leave the link for the 2am team website as well in the description. We've got stuff like quizzes to keep your mind off of stuff, breathing exercises, some calming music, little videos like this as well, just explaining certain stuff. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a podcast with a mental health professional coming up very soon, where we ask the important questions that everybody does ask. I've asked sort of panic attack group that I'm in, give me some questions. What are the most asked questions? What would you like to know the answers of? So we're going to be asking them that, getting the answers, and hopefully helping out answer a lot of questions. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye bye.